Hi there, Beverly here to provide another quick tip to help manage schedules, deadlines, and more. Today we're talking all things calendar. We're going to go over creating private calendars using various objects and fields, such as opportunities and campaigns, creating and using public calendars for resource scheduling and groups and team calendars and scheduling, as well as adding other calendars to your view and customizing your calendar view. That's a lot, so let's get started. We're going to be enlightening today. If your organization looks like this, that means you are in the classic experience, and it may view differently. It may also have different functionality. If you have questions about moving to Lightning and upgrading your organization to Lightning, feel free to give us a call. Today we're going to be enlightening, and we're going to start with private calendars. And what we can do is either go to the top navigation bar and hit calendar, or we can go here to the app navigation and type in calendar. This is what this looks like. A side note, you can integrate your calendar, your Salesforce calendar, with Outlook or Gmail. If you have questions about that, feel free to give us a call as well. So in order to take a look at calendars, what we would like to do is, this is my events is the normal view. However, I would like to add a few other calendars that keep me in touch with different things, such as the opportunities that are closing this next month, or marketing campaigns, or other areas. So what we're going to do today is we're going to set up a couple of different calendars that you can do individually. I'm going to go ahead and go to the gearbox here, and I'm going to type in new calendar. And what we need to do is select the object that I am looking at, and I'm going to start with campaign. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And I'm going to type in upcoming campaigns. And this will be my calendar name. Then I'm going to pick the field that I want to use to set the calendar. And I'm going to go ahead and hit start, the start date. A couple things to note about these fields. If you select a field that is listed as date, and you see it in the parentheses here, it will display items across the top. If you select a field that is date and time, if you see here, it will display in those time slots. The other thing to note is that you want to make sure that if you pick a date field here, that if you're deciding to choose the field for end, that also needs to be a date field. It can't be a date and time. They need to be in sync. Field for end is optional. If you decide that you would like to put an end time for this calendar, then you can go ahead and do so. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank for now. We're going to apply a filter, and what this filter is the options are object specific and also list view specific. So they're going to look at existing list views. If you don't see the option you want, go to the object and create the applicable list view. I'm going to go ahead and pick all active campaigns, and I'm going to go ahead and pick what I want it to display on the calendar. So I'm going to go and find the name, because I'd like to see what campaign name is on this calendar. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And you notice that I'm going to change this to per month. And I see that I have nothing in August, but I now see the orange, and I now see that I have one starting September 2nd. And if I go ahead and go to the next month, I can see that I have a pre-winter webinar on September 2nd starting. I have a back to school campaign starting on the 15th. And I have a fall is here social media campaign on October 1st. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go and set up another calendar. And this time we're going to go to opportunities. And I want to see all of our opportunities that are upcoming. So I'm going to name this opportunity closing. And I want to pick the close date because I want to see what's coming up and what is set to close in the next, just as I look forward. I'm going to leave the end date blank again. And this time I'm going to pick all opportunities. And you can actually choose like all open opportunities. And again, make that list view appropriate for you. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the name field to display. And you notice that this is a different color. And I have this opportunity, I have Acme 600 widgets that's closing on the 31st. I have another one closing on the 3rd. And then I have a couple more closing on the 15th and the 16th. If I'd like to change the colors of these, maybe they're a little too close together, so I want to choose a different color, you're going to hit the drop-down button and pick the color. And that will allow you to differentiate the colors and differentiate the calendars. If I decide that this is getting a little too full and I don't want to necessarily see the upcoming campaigns, I can just check this box here off of the color and it just hides those items. If I'd like to delete these because I no longer need that calendar, I can hit the drop-down button and I can either edit the calendar or I can delete the calendar. So there's a few options. I'm not sure how you would like to take a look at this, but these are some options. You can actually choose different objects. So leads that are ready to close, cases that are on the SLA, maybe a service level agreement, and actually are getting ready to expire or be overdue, or tasks that are upcoming and I need to know what those are. All of these types of things can be done the exact same way by going to the gear, clicking the new calendar, and picking the appropriate object. Now we're going to go ahead and switch gears. And this time, these are what I've shown you are the private calendars that I've set up for me. Each person, each user can set up their own calendars. And once they set these up, they cannot be shared. There's not a way to share them. These are their private calendars that maybe they want to see. It might be recommended that if you want everyone to have that, to share what that looks like for them and give them the instructions to add that to their calendar. But you notice that it shows my calendars, and these are things that I've set up specifically to help me manage my day. Now I'd like to talk about public calendars. Public calendars are maybe you have a meeting room that you need scheduled, maybe you have a team that you need scheduled together, other resources, a truck, equipment, a number of different things that you need to get everybody on the same calendar and be able to see one calendar that is going to rule them all for these types of issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a couple of different things. We're going to set up public calendars and public resources. So I'm going to pop over to the setup, and you will need to have admin rights or be able to have access to this setup in order to do this. So if you don't have this access, contact your admin to discuss this. And I'm going to type in the quick find. I'm going to type in public calendars, and you'll notice it says public calendars and resources. So in here, I have a couple of items that I've already set up, but I'm going to show you how to set these up. Public calendars are a department, maybe projects, maybe teams. So this is a great way from a public, from a group perspective to schedule. Resources are items that are actually conference rooms, projectors, maybe trucks, maybe specific equipment that when someone is scheduling their own appointments or their own calendar events, that they maybe need to check out or mark that that's not available. So for public calendars, there's a couple of steps that you need to do for each of these. So I'm going to go ahead and click New. And I'm going to name this Going on an adventure. We're going on an adventure together, and I'm going to go ahead and hit active, and I'm going to save this. The next thing you notice is it brings you to the details, and it has this button called sharing. If you create these and do not do the sharing, then no one will be able to see this calendar. So we need to make sure that the appropriate people can see this calendar. So I'm going to hit share, and I'm going to hit add, and you can share this calendar with different public groups, roles and subordinates, or specific users. So you'll see that if you drop down, you can see the options. I'm going to go ahead and click user for this purpose. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with myself. And you'll want to make sure that you do share this with yourself, because this is giving you access to be able to see the calendar and also work with the calendar. For each sharing option, you have down here the calendar access. You'll want to set this up per requirement. So you might have people that only need to see the calendar, and you have other people that actually need to schedule on the calendar, access the calendar. Make sure that you set these sharing settings up so that you only give the needed and appropriate access, and you can set up more than one sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself full access. That means I can schedule on it, delete it, I can see it, all of those aspects. And if you drop down, you'll see all of these items. So maybe you're going to hide the details, but you can add an event. Maybe you want to show all the details, and then full access. Another thing to note about sharing is that you'll want to make sure that if they need to see the appropriate information, that they have read access for permissions on the appropriate object. So now that I've shared this, and this is going on an adventure, I'm going to pop back over to the calendar, and on other calendars, I'm going to hit the gearbox next to other calendars, and I'm going to hit add. And I'm going to go to the drop down, and I'm going to look for public calendars and resources. And I'm going to look up going on an adventure and hit add. And you'll see that now I have access to this. I'm going to show you how to schedule on this in just a moment, but we're going to go ahead and also we're going to pop back over here, and we're going to add a resource calendar. So we have a number of trucks that are company trucks that need to be checked out. And so we're going to go ahead and type in trucks, and you might have more than one resource named, so you would have a calendar for each one. So I'm going to go ahead and click active and add. And again, the sharing is the same thing. So I'm going to need to share this. Make sure that you're sharing this with the appropriate people so that they can see. Maybe there's a manager that can see what's going on, but then there's other people that need to be able to access it. So I've now set the sharing up. It is the same philosophy as the public calendars. And I'm going to go ahead and click add over here. I'm going to go on other calendars, hit add calendar, select the drop down button, and this time I'm going to look up trucks. And you'll notice that they're the same color, so maybe I don't want them to be the same color. I like my calendar to look very different so I can see what's going on. And we're going to go ahead and do that. So now that we've set these calendars up, I have a calendar that is showing me my different opportunities closing, my upcoming campaigns, but I have other calendars that I can see. I would like to schedule something on these because as a group, I need to schedule something for going on an adventure. So I'm going to click new event, and this would be no different than if you were on an object itself. And if I see here a couple of things that I see, I'm going to go ahead and hit on the assign to, and I'm going to go to calendars. And you'll notice that if I type in trucks, it doesn't show up because trucks is a resource. That means I'm checking it out, but I'm going to assign it to myself. The public calendar, the group calendar, is actually a calendar that I can schedule on. So I'm going to go ahead and type in going on an adventure. And I'm going to type in meeting I'm going to walk, and I'm going to go ahead and say that it is today, and we're going to mark this as busy. I could also relate this to different objects and different contacts and leads if I want, but today I'm not going to, so I'm going to hit save. And you'll notice that now this is here. Anybody that has visibility into this calendar can see this. So we're going to go ahead and go over to opportunities. And for this particular opportunity, I actually need to schedule out the truck because I'm going to need to take that with me. I'm going to use that to work with this opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and click new on the opportunity, new event. And you've noticed that I'm going to assign it to myself because this is my appointment. However, where it says attendees, I'm going to click on resources. If you don't see attendees, you'll need to change your page layout to make sure that attendees is an option. And I'm going to go ahead and type in truck. And now I've checked out the truck. And this time I'm going to go ahead and put in that I'm picking up the trash, and this is associated with this particular opportunity. And I could always also associate it with a contact or a lead if I'd like. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. It's going to be today. So now I'm going to pop back over to the calendar, and let's refresh that for a moment. And you'll see that I now have an appointment on my events. So you see the blue, and that's my appointment, but you also see that I've checked out the truck so that I can see, I could see it on both calendars. If I decide if I'm only looking at the trucks and I get to see who's got the truck or something like that, I can actually see that here. Now that you've seen this, there are a couple things to note about this. The event page layout needs to have the attendees added as a resource. Your sharing permissions need to align with the access of the object. That means that if a user does not have read access on opportunities, then they can't see the opportunity details for a calendar if it is a group calendar or a public calendar. What other ideas do you have for using this? This is a great way to increase efficiency, have visibility into different things that you're using. So share this with your Salesforce team and users and see what they can come up with as well. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this quick overview was helpful. Check out the links below for additional resources. Do you have recommendations for more tips and tricks? We'd love to hear your ideas and also how you use this to enhance your productivity. Just comment below. We look forward to sharing more content with you in the future, and always, we wish you health and prosperity. Happy Salesforcing, everyone.